All right. We talked the other day about how I broke this transfer case and it found its own two-wheel drive low range, which I think it's in high range right now. Yeah. And it makes noises as well. Super good. Good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and pull it apart today. I need a little bit more room to work, so we're going to start this off by doing the best thing you can do, and that is let the truck roll away. Bye-bye, truck. Oh, if you love something and it comes back, it's meant to be, right? But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pull this case apart and see what's going on with it. And I'm going to go ahead and get some tools out. She's heavy. Get some tools out, pull this thing apart, see what we're going to do about it. And then once I get it all pulled apart, I'll go throw it back in storage, and I'll get this bed cleaned out because it puked fluid everywhere. This little deal here went in here, decided to pop out, and yeah, that's part of the sealing surface there. Well, that and the drive flange, but it puked fluid all over the bed of my truck. So I get to clean that up, but it is what it is. Since I know none of you guys are trying to come kill me, there's my license plate. Fucking filthy. The whole bed of the truck and the bumper. But it is what it is. I'll get it cleaned up. But we'll be back in just a second. Alright. So, I'm going to wear some gloves because the fluid that was in this is black. It's gross. And I don't really feel like getting all that dirty today. I already got one bolt out. They're all 15 mils on the outside of this to split the case. RIP headphone users. We'll come back to that one. That one's got a tag around it for some specifications for this case. And the tag's pretty bent up. No, we'll come back to it. One there. Guess let me go ahead and try to get that one now. See if I can bend that back. I can indeed bend it back. Sweet. Yeah, there's my tag. You've seen better days. It's a Borg Warner 1354 transfer case. I didn't read that off the tag. I already knew that. I haven't even looked into what all this means on this tag. I know what they read out to on the axles, but not the transfer cases. It's my first transfer case rebuild, so thank you for joining me. Seeing what kind of bullshit we can get into. So, I believe that is everything to split the case. Yeah. Ooh. Oh. I thought my drive, I thought the spline down the middle came out. It was just that freaking sleeve again. And now she's puking fluid again. Now, there's probably still some fluid in here. I'm probably going to make a big mess and I'm going to be upset about it. But it's part of it. I'm going to go get something real quick to split this thing in half. Grab old Trusty here. Move my soda out of the way before I knock it over. I don't know if that's going to do it. Find another spot. That might do it. Oh yeah, good sounds, good sounds. I'm gonna have to go back this way. See if I can find me another spot over here. I think I found me another spot. Oh, that does not sound very pretty. Yuck. Yep, that's the same spot that was giving me problems the first time. So I'll just go right in here. Try not to mar up the gasket surface. There we go. Now, backside of this should just lift right up. Shouldn't be any issues. As long as I can get everything to just drop down out of the case. I guess that bearing comes up. Whew, she's got some mileage. Eee, there's some metal in there. It's not a very comforting sign. This thing may need more of a rebuild than I thought it did. Check that out. Everything is black, and I see chunks. There's a good chunk right there. That's got to be good, right? Very good, very good. Yeah, she's pretty rough. So, woo! Oh yeah, we got problems. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these gloves off and try not to touch too much. Actually, I'm gonna take one glove off. I'll use my other glove on the hand I'll be showing you some of this stuff with. Some serious issues here. This transfer case is done. It's gonna need a full rebuild, or actually I may just go pick up a whole new transfer case at the junkyard. They're relatively cheap used. So, chain here, definitely not supposed to have this much slack. Not even close to this. This is way too much. But here's your shifter. So, it's not supposed to have this much play either. Like, there's not supposed to be this much movement. But in this position, this is the position that it found two-wheel drive low range. Yeah, this is where it found two-wheel drive low range somehow. Straight down would be four-wheel drive. Pointed this way would be two-wheel drive. And pointed that way would be four low. There's no shifter detent here. So how it found that, I'm not sure. But take this spring out, just set it over there before you lose it. Pull this shift collar up and turn to the side. So this is how you lock in your four-wheel drive. The little spline usually sits up above that in two-wheel drive, and then it pulls that shift collar back, pulls this shift collar back, and it'll lock onto that. That's how you get four-wheel drive. We'll go ahead and set that in there. Oh, well, don't do that. I knocked it out. Oh, well, that's fine. That actually doesn't look to be in horribly bad shape. That doesn't either. There's my magnet. It's covered in junk. I'm sure that filter's clogged up a little bit. Actually, I can see through it, so it may not be so bad. My pump is not down where it's supposed to be. Yeah, we got some bad things going on in here. Hell, I may be able to pick that chain up and pull it right off. Oh, man. Your boy is very upset right now. Very, very upset. So, from what I've read, there's supposed to be a tab on the back side of this. Maybe it's not that. That ain't it. No, I lied. Don't listen to me. We'll set that in there. Wow. So spring's in good condition. I didn't lose the spring. I'm really lost here. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Like I said, this is my first transfer case rebuild, but I'm gonna figure it out. I'll let you guys know what happened. That looks pretty wore out. And I found my broken piece. There it is. It's supposed to look like that one on the other side. And as you can tell, it is not. That's not the starter from this truck, by the way. It's from a side job I've been doing. Got to pay for these Ranger parts somehow, don't you know? Oh, well, now we know that's broken. We'll go ahead and set it in there. What I'm going to do is just do a full rebuild. Just get everything taken care of. I just found some more broken parts. That should be connected between there, and it's not. So the pump was not getting the proper. There's that other piece that broke off that shift fork. There's just a little bit of backstory. This thing was popping in and out of four-wheel drive off-road. Was not doing too well. And I was still running it. It was working good enough to get me by. And I knew I had a spare case, so I wasn't too worried about it. Wow, that chain's got a lot of slack. I wasn't too worried about it because like I said, I had a spare case. It really didn't matter. When it came down to it, I'm going to set you guys down again. We're going to pull some more of this apart. When it came down to it, I just decided I'll run it until it finally blows up. And it did. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this one apart and do a rebuild on it. And I'll have a fully rebuilt transfer case as a spare, which I usually don't have new parts to go back on, so that'll be nice. Now, I'm sure if you drive a Ranger, you also don't have a lot of money. I mean, they're awesome trucks, but the reason why most of us guys get them is because they're cheap to work on. They're mostly reliable. They have their issues, but every vehicle does. That's how I thought that was going to go. Shouldn't have enough slack in your chain to go ahead and pull it off like that, but I did. Go ahead and set that in there. Go ahead and pull that off of there. These are actually a lot more simple than I expected them to be. Here's my pump here, and it sheared some of itself off. I don't know how well that camera is going to focus in on that. That pump shot. I'll have to get a new pump. Go ahead and pop this magnet and filter out as well. There's some of those good old chunks. I'll just toss that magnet in there, let it stick to the chain. Now we've got the main shaft out. It looks to be in good condition. It's definitely going to be need to be cleaned up. I knew I was hearing some noises. I was running the shaft back and forth, which actually I think I caught some of that in the video. It's got a screen inside the shaft, so we'll have to make sure we blow that out real good, some air or something. But it was making some noise. I think I got it on camera. I believe I did. And I wasn't sure exactly what was going on. Wow, a lot of metal went through this case. There's chunks going everywhere. This piece looks good. Not sure what it is. I'm just going to call it a piece for now. The helical gears inside of here. Ooh. I feel like that's supposed to be set in there a little bit better. Let's see if I can lift it out. I can. Sweet. So, bearing feels nice. We might be able to save a little bit more of this than I thought we could. So that's really good. I'm happy about that. Like I said, I'm not rich. I don't know about you guys. So, the more I can save, the better. So, that actually pretty much looks like the case is broke down. That's pretty much it. Wow, that is way more simple than I thought it would be. Now, there is a piece that I didn't break down. I didn't break down this guy here. I guess this is, I'm not sure why it's got these helical gears in it, but it looks fine. I don't see any reason to break it down. Ooh, might have a little bit of shaft play. I'll look into it and see what's acceptable and what's not. I'm not going to break it down though. I don't see any reason to. But let me go ahead and pull that other piece out of here. I'll show you what the other part that I didn't break down. I don't see any reason to. It's the part that actually slides back and forth and throws everything in four-wheel drive. It's got a lot of nastiness on it. I'll clean it up really good, but I think it's fine. It's got a spring in it. Spring seems to be working fine. It's pretty nasty in there, so it's kind of hanging up a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be hanging up all that bad. I think once I clean it, it'll be fine. But so far, what I found to be an issue would be this shift fork. Thank the Lord Jeebus that it has a part number on it. Sorry, like I said, I'm learning as I go. First time I pulled one of these apart. Wow, that looks really bad. So, it actually ate through some of the shift fork there. And this transfer case came off of an Explorer. Well, yeah. I bought a transmission, transfer case, drive shaft combo for $500 when I blew up the last automatic in this truck. And this transfer case came on it because, and the reason I put this one on there is the transfer case that was on the parts truck that I pulled the manual transmission off of. I ended up breaking the output for the rear wheels when I snapped one of my drive shafts. I believe I told you guys about that one in the replacement video, the transfer case replacement video. But that drive shaft was just like, I should have never drove it with that on there. I mean, I could have drove it up and down through my driveway and stuff like that, but I shouldn't have been driving it to work and all that. I knew better. This is my fault. It is what it is. But when that one blew up, it broke the output snout, and so I threw this one on here. This was my spare, or this one was from that Explorer, and it was fine. I didn't see any issues with it. But one day it wasn't fine anymore. We took it out to Sand Creek, and it was popping in and out of four-wheel drive, really giving me some issues. But I just kind of shrugged it off. It is what it is. I'll just put the other one on there. That's what I did. But one day, going down the road, it found neutral. Oh, I'm going to have to do that for you guys on camera. But the case found neutral on its own while I was going 70 miles an hour down the road. Then once I parked it for a little while, I pushed it backwards into a gravel lot. And then it somehow found two-wheel drive low range. I drove it to my buddy's shop that way. Yeah, it was not good. My speedometer said, I'll throw that clip in there right after I say this, but the speedometer was reading that I was going 70 or so mile an hour, and I pulled it up on my GPS on my phone, my GPS speedometer, and it said I was going 30, and I was like, yeah, that sounds about right, because, buddy, I was singing in the RPMs. And basically what happened was it found that two-wheel drive low range, but because
the computer, the PCM wasn't registering that the transfer case was in low range. It I'm trying to explain how it works. Basically, when you go into low range, your computer recognizes that you're in low range, and so it changes the ratio for the speedometer. Well, since the computer didn't know the transfer case was in low range, and that the transfer case had just found its own low range, it never changed the speedometer, and so it was just spinning everything fast as hell in here, and the computer didn't know how to correct it. So yeah, I'll throw that clip in here, and it'll make a little bit more sense. But now you've watched the clip, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it off here. There's not much more that I can do with this. Everything inside the case looks good. Only thing I seen was that feed line for the pump. The pump itself is going to have to be replaced. This shift fork's going to have to be replaced. And yeah, I'll see what a rebuild kit. Oh, the chain as well. That chain's got way too much slop in it. But I'll see what all comes in a rebuild kit. See if maybe I can piece together what I want and don't want. And I'll just clean this thing out really, really good. And we'll rebuild it, and we'll be good to go again. We'll break another one. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. Thank you guys for joining, and look forward for a transfer case rebuild video here in a little while. Thank you guys. It's a Ranger Thing signing out.
So I just got on Rock Auto and looked for the shift forks and whatnot for that transfer case. They don't offer them anymore, or at least not on Rock Auto. I'm gonna look a little farther, but I think instead what I'm gonna do, there's a company that offers an adapter to go from this 5-bolt transfer case, which is the only thing that they offered in the Ranger. I don't know why, because no one else uses a 5-bolt transfer case. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get that adapter, and I'll start using a different transfer case. Then get a better low range. So I have 1-to-1 going down the highway, which would be fine. I don't see any reason not to have it, or any reason that I wouldn't have it. Probably be able to switch over to a gear drive rather than a chain drive. Be a lot more reliable. I won't have near as many of these issues, but I think that's going to be a better option. If you think that's a better option, toss it down in the comments. Or do you think I should just go ahead and keep burning through these 1354s, getting them really cheap at the junkyard? It's not like they're expensive. There's still other options at the junkyard that I can get the same price. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. This adapter, I believe it's either $560 or $650. Either way, I'll get better low range. I do use the truck off-road a lot. You've seen in my videos. So it wouldn't be a bad thing. But better low range, a beefier transfer case. Granted, I will probably have to do some modification, and I'll have to do drive shafts. But that, I mean, can it really be that bad to have better low range and have a beefier transfer case? I don't know. Toss it down in the comments. Tell me what you think.